You ready? I am. Gosh. Son of a monkey. Not bad for a day. Testing, 1, 2, testing. Crank that sucker up. Test, 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 test. A little more test. Used to do a little, but a little wouldn't do it, so a little got more and more. All right, guys, that was Weightlifting Friday. Now, generally, this video gets the least amount of views out of all of my training videos through the entire week. But if you're paying attention to what I've been doing and you pay attention to what I'm going to be doing in the future, it's quite possibly the most interesting. It's the one where I crunch the most numbers, and it's the one where I actually have to actually work to make things run smoothly. Now, I've lifted some decent numbers. I've qualified for Masters Worlds in weightlifting at my first competition several years ago. Since then, man, the weights that I'm using have just crashed. But at that time, I was doing some powerlifting on Sundays, and then Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, sometimes twice a day, Monday through Friday, was strictly absolutely nothing but weightlifting. So I was working on that sport. That's kind of how you have to train for weightlifting. And well, I'm not going to do that anymore, at least not unless there's a weightlifting competition coming up that I can shift directly to weightlifting. Training for weightlifting is really not very conducive to being a very good power lifter or strongman. In fact, I've figured out that the more that I push the snatch and clean and jerk, the worse that my deadlift gets. I've also learned that if I don't practice and get myself into positions on the snatch and clean and jerk, the weightlifting squat, the weightlifting front squat, my mobility and my events and my overall just daily life awesomeness goes down. So I think being able to do the snatch, going through the motions of snatch, keeping the ideas of mobility, agility, almost plyometrics in my weekly routine greatly benefits me as a person, especially as a person who's not getting any younger, someone who has lots of gray hair for the hair they have left. So I think if I really pushed hard for a couple of months, I have a shot at qualifying for Worlds. I would have to really push and really get lucky and have a great day with some very favorable judges to do it, but I've got a chance. Now, qualifying for Pan Ams is something that I could do training once a week in here. I can go in and hit those numbers. So looking off my notebook here, the qualifying total for my weight class and age class, which is no longer the youngest, is 232 kilos to qualify for Worlds. Pan Ams is 207. So I kind of broke down what I think I would have to snatch and clean and jerk for each one of those, which basically gives me two different plans that I can work off of. Generally, 80% for 5 sets of 2 is always a solid training session. It requires enough work to where if you're making mistakes, you can go back and you're doing enough reps that once you realize you're making a mistake, you've got another set and another rep to make that correction. If you just walk in the gym and max out, which is kind of what I've been doing the last many months, you don't really have any chance to make corrections. Once you get to a weight or your body gets tired enough that you make a mistake, well, you don't really have the time to correct it until next week. And then you've probably got a whole new mistake by then. So today was based off of 80% of the qualifying total for Pan Ams, which I think is probably pretty close to what my training max is. 92.5 snatch, which I have done here in the gym, and a 115 clean and jerk. Now I've done 110 in the gym. I think I can pretty much do whatever I need to do on clean and jerk. It just comes down to how much pain I'm willing to go through in order to do it. I have a lot of pain in my wrist, a little bit in my elbows, just to make the cleans. So the training weight for today was roughly somewhere around 75, 92. Could be a little above, a little below, didn't really matter. Ended up with snatch, 70 kilos for 3 sets of 2, 75 kilos for 2 sets of 2. All of them felt really good. Clean and jerk, I began at 90. I just did cleans, 3 sets of 2, then 92.5 for 1 set of 2. Finished off with my last set of 2 at 92.5. Jerked both of them. Felt really solid. I had some reps in there that felt really, really good. I felt some pop as my body extended up as the bar was coming to completion around mid-thigh. I'm hoping that that wasn't me cutting the pull short just to get under. I'm hoping it wasn't me slamming the bar against my legs. I'll see that once I watch the video. But that was by far the best day I've had in a long time. In fact, that's the kind of weight that I was missing for a single a month ago. Now my squats and front squats, I did not push those at all. I've got a couple of different things that I can do. Dynamic effort work is a great one. 5 sets of 2 with somewhere around 80%, including chains, somewhere around 50% straight weight, 25% of bands or chains. I prefer to use chains on the weightlifting squats, so that's 75%. 5 sets of 2 is a great training style for this. The same thing with the front squats as well. What I'm going to work on is I know what I need to clean and jerk. So most people can base their squat and their front squat off of what they need to clean and jerk, or vice versa. They can bring up their squat or their front squat with proper technique, and that will cause their clean and jerk to go up. So right now, let's say that my clean and jerk is 115, and the idea is I need to get it to somewhere around 135. My training weight that I'm going to use on most of these is going to be somewhere around 115 to 135. On squats, I can push it up a little bit higher, up into the 125% range. I would like to stick with sets of 5 to 6s. I want to feel it in my legs because I do think the reps help me on deadlifts 2 days from now. And the same goes for the front squats, the Viking squats. I stuck with 115, 2 sets of 3. I would like to stick with somewhere around there. I don't want to beat up my knees, my hips, my joints, not even my brain. I just want to get some work in at that weight. Today, the front squats felt better than the regular squats. I've got some pain, some pretty bad pain in my neck, my upper back. Something is really, really tight. Got me tight, and I'm sure that when I was squatting, I was rounded forward, so I never got my chest out. I never got to set the weight on my hips. With the front squats and the Viking harness, I got to stand up flat-chested, chest out, spine is pretty flat or with a small arch. I got to set the weight onto my heels. Felt much better. Probably should have pushed the front squats, not so much of the regular squats today. So guys, while this may seem like the most unexciting day of my entire week, on video anyway, on paper, it's by far and away the most difficult and the most exciting training session that I'm doing. So keep watching. Let's see what I do next. We'll see you Sunday, guys.